The shock waves are already being felt across Washington. Canada and Mexico, two of America's closest neighbors, are moving forward with a trade strategy that could cut the United States out of the game entirely. At the center of this breaking development is the so-called Northern Corridor, a massive infrastructure project stretching more than 9,000 kilometers from Prince Rupert in Canada to Mazatlán in Mexico. If it succeeds, it could reroute as much as $160 billion in annual trade away from American ports and customs checkpoints. The stakes are enormous. Prime Minister Mark Carney of Canada and President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico have joined forces, presenting what many analysts call a historic shift in North American trade. For decades, the economic backbone of this region has depended on the United States. Washington has dominated supply chains, customs, and infrastructure. But now, Canada and Mexico are deliberately constructing an alternative system, a game-changing project that challenges America's position as the gatekeeper of continental commerce. To understand how shocking this move is, we need to look at what led up to it. Canada has long depended on the United States for more than 3/4 of its exports. Every time Washington changes policy, Ottawa feels the shock immediately. Mexico, meanwhile, has been locked into its role as a low-cost manufacturing hub, often described as the junior partner in North America's trade triangle. But Donald Trump's escalating tariffs, including a looming 30% tariff set to take effect on August 1st, have convinced both countries that fragmentation is weakness. Rather than negotiate separately with a volatile White House, Canada and Mexico are banding together. The Northern Corridor is their answer, not just another rail line, but a $120 billion plan designed to rewrite the balance of trade across the continent. It's being described as the backbone of North American logistics, and the timing could not be more explosive. Already, Washington is bracing for the fallout. Analysts warn the U.S. could lose billions in customs fees each year. Estimates point to a $4 billion hole in the federal budget if even a fraction of this trade bypasses American checkpoints. That's before Trump's 30% tariffs even take effect. The message is clear. Canada and Mexico aren't waiting to react. They're building a system where U.S. pressure may simply no longer matter. Here's where the strategy becomes even more sophisticated. The Northern Corridor isn't just about steel tracks and expanded ports. It's about who controls the rules of trade. Instead of relying on U.S. customs systems, the project is designed with blockchain-based customs technology. That means secure digital data flowing directly between Canada and Mexico. No U.S. servers, no American checkpoints, no Washington oversight. In practice, that eliminates transaction fees that brought in more than $1 billion to U.S. authorities in 2024 alone. Clearance times that once dragged on for days could be cut to just 24 hours. For Washington, that's deeply troubling. Customs control has always been one of America's key levers in shaping trade policy. If Canada and Mexico succeed, that lever could vanish. Canada, for its part, sees this as a once-in-a-generation chance to escape its dependence on a single neighbor. By connecting directly to Mexico and its Pacific ports, Canada gains a springboard to Asian and European markets. The prospect of sending goods to multiple continents without relying on American infrastructure represents a potential revolution in how Canadian trade is structured. Some analysts are even comparing it to the transcontinental railroads of the 19th century. Projects that permanently changed the geography of commerce. Mexico, meanwhile, is transforming its role from junior partner to central hub. Upgrades at Mazatlán and 5 other ports give Mexico leverage it has rarely enjoyed. Goods like agricultural products, industrial inputs, and even electric vehicle components could move directly through Mexican ports without touching U.S. territory. Instead of being a side player in supply chains, Mexico could become the anchor. What makes this shift even more striking is the alignment between Ottawa and Mexico City. Prime Minister Carney and President Sheinbaum are presenting a unified front through the Canada-Mexico Action Plan. This isn't just a narrow trade pact. It extends into renewable energy, agriculture, finance, and environmental resilience. By deliberately weaving multiple sectors together, both governments are attempting to build a framework strong enough to withstand U.S. pressure far into the future. For Washington, the potential consequences are staggering. The Midwest's auto industry, America's steel sector, and even its fast-growing battery supply chains could see investments redirected. Communities that depend on factory wages could face slow decline as production migrates to new hubs outside U.S. borders. And with America's national debt already surpassing $37 trillion, even a small drop in competitiveness could ripple through the economy in painful ways. This is more than an economic story. It's a geopolitical one. For the first time, North America could host a major trade artery that bypasses the United States completely. Canada and Mexico, long seen as secondary players, could emerge as the new gatekeepers of global flows, linking Asia, Europe, and the Americas. Infrastructure, not politics, would dictate who sets the rules. All eyes are now on the rollout. Billions are already being spent. Canada has committed $2.5 billion to expand Prince Rupert into a multi-terminal port. Mexico has pledged $1.6 billion to strengthen its port network. Together, these investments are building an end-to-end system designed for speed, security, and independence. The timeline matters. Trump's 30% tariffs hit on August 1st. If the corridor demonstrates even partial functionality before then, companies will have every incentive to reroute trade immediately. That means Washington could start losing influence within weeks, not years. The question now is how the U.S. will respond. Will Washington attempt to block the corridor, pressure allies, or impose new sanctions? Or will it be forced to adapt, reshaping its role in a region where it no longer holds the master keys? This is not just a regional project. It has the potential to redraw the map of global commerce. Infrastructure-led geopolitics is the phrase many analysts are using. Instead of power being dictated by tariffs or military alliances, it is determined by who builds the fastest, most efficient systems. Canada and Mexico are betting that in this new order, efficiency beats dominance. The next 48 hours may not decide the entire future of the corridor, but they will shape perceptions. If companies see a clear alternative to U.S. routes, confidence will grow. If shipments start moving faster and cheaper through Mexico and Canada, momentum will build. And once momentum sets in, it becomes difficult to reverse. The United States faces an unprecedented challenge. Will it reassert control, or will it watch power slip away in its own neighborhood? For now, the Northern Corridor represents the most direct challenge yet to America's role as the anchor of North American trade. Thanks for watching. If you found this eye-opening, hit the like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned. We'll be tracking every development as Canada and Mexico push forward with what could be the most game-changing project in North America in decades.